Hello, everybody. Tracy Miss JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives the military community a voice in the veteran space to share their stories of service, how they continue to make a difference in civilian life, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am honored to speak with Joseph Diacheysn. Joe is a licensed clinical social worker, Army veteran, and founder of Stone and Son Counseling, a trauma-focused private practice serving veterans, first responders, and their families across New Jersey and Florida. Drawing from his background as a military police officer, former law enforcement professional, and VA TBI case manager, Joe brings both clinical expertise and lived experiences to conversations surrounding trauma, burnout, identity, hypervigilance, moral injury, and the realities of life after service. His work integrates evidence-based modalities including cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, and prolonged exposure therapy, while maintaining a direct, practical, and culturally competent approach that resonates with high-performing populations who are often taught to suppress emotion rather than process it. Joe is passionate about breaking stigma in tactical communities and helping people move from survival mode toward meaningful, values-driven living. Through therapy, speaking engagements, peer trainings, and community outreach, Joe focuses on creating honest conversations around mental health, resilience, relationships, nervous system regulation, and the long-term psychological impact of service-oriented careers. Hello, Joseph. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for your service to our country as well.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
We have a lot to talk about today. However, before we get into the discussion, I would like to ask a couple questions about your military career. I would love to know what inspired you to join the Army.
So growing up, at least one male of every generation has served in the military as long as we've been in the United States. So more recently, like my grandfather, my father, they both served in the Army. And then when I turned 19, I left high school. I was working, and unfortunately, no one prior to me has been to college. So I didn't really have a lot of guidance into what to do, how to get into college, a formal education beyond high school. So I kind of leaned in on my faith and leaned in on my history of my family and decided to join the Army in 2007.
Oh, wow. Wow. I love that story. Um, and I love the fact that every one person from every generation kind of served. I like that.
Yeah, it's a deep history. I love it. I have a picture in the house with all the male family members who served, so it's really a beautiful tradition I kept alive.
Yeah, what an amazing legacy. I love that. So, is there a particular moment or aspect from your service that stood out as impactful in a positive way for you?
Yeah. So when I think about my service, so I was military police in the Army, and I had the honor of serving with the 10th Mountain Division, 3rd Brigade, when it was 3rd Brigade. It has been since shut down that unit, and
Mm,
then they turned
okay.
4th Brigade into 3rd Brigade, which is at Fort Polk, Louisiana. But when I was in that unit, that's where I create the closest friendships I have. I served in a unit that only had about 40 to 50 MPs. So we did
Hmm.
a multitude of things, but our tour to Afghanistan, where we got to really spend every day together and help each other grow and help each other with our careers as well as defending our nation. It really helped kind of guide me into who I am today, and really helped me with understanding that I want to give back to the veteran community.
Oh, wow. I love that. That's amazing. After you get out, you started working in the VA, correct? And what did you do there?
Yeah, so when I got out, I obviously went to social work, and then at the VA, I served in the post 9/11 office. It's went through a few name changes. A lot of people still know it as OEF, OIF, but today is like the Transition and Care Management Program. But
Okay.
serving all post 9/11 veterans with their transition out of the military, as well as just navigating the VA system in and of itself.
I would love to know, working within the VA as a social work,
Mhm.
you decided to start your own practice. I would love to know what inspired you to do that.
Yeah, well, I like to go back a little bit, if I may, where like the entire reason why I want to serve my fellow vets, was because like most vets, we get out of the military, and the easiest jobs to grab are security or police. And serving as a military police officer, it helped me with understanding what I liked and didn't like about the role. And I want to help people, not so much lock people up and give them tickets and stuff. I know it's to serve and protect, but when you're in the community that you're working in and living in at the same time, it didn't feel like I was doing much serving as I was like getting people in trouble. So when I went
Right.
into social work and I started working at the VA, it really helped with kind of guiding me into continuing my service. And I loved what I did. I absolutely loved working at the VA, loved working with the same era of veterans that I served with. It was amazing. Opening up my own therapy practice was always like a pipeline dream. It was something I was going to do after I retired, a one day sort of mentality. But as 2025 kind of rolled around, I started to feel disconnected a little bit. I was running into a lot of red tape, a lot of barriers. Unfortunately, there was a high demand for care and a low supply of clinicians. And the way the government kind of works is you can't just slide into another position to kind of fill a gap. You have to apply, it's a whole process. And we had like an informal hiring freeze at my VA for over 2 years. So there was
Oh,
no
wow.
movement of anyone. So seeing all the red tape, I decided to take a leap of faith, with the guidance of my wife, thankfully. She is a big support for me. But
It's
kind
good.
of not to take away from the VA, but to fill the gap, right?
Right.
I was tired of seeing people fall through the cracks or the loopholes of where people were referred for group therapy instead of individual therapy because that's the only thing they could really do because of the low demand or low supply of clinicians we had at VA. So I took that leap of faith, and right now I am a solo practice doing trauma-informed mental health therapy for veterans and first responders primarily.
Right, right. And I've been to your website. I love your name. It's Stone and Son Counseling, and
Yes.
I read a little bit about it, and it's kind of based on your Armenian heritage. Is that correct?
It is, it is. So it's kind of twofold. I like to think of it with the stone being like the heavy weight we all carry, and every stone is a different shape, a different size, a different weight. And then the sun is the light of hope, right? So looking towards the future and what we can achieve. In terms of connecting it to my faith and my Armenian background, there is something called a Kachkar, which is Armenian for stone cross. And the stone cross is literally a cross with some designs in a block of stone. And every single one you see is different because they all are handmade. So none of them are done with machines in any way. So if you go anywhere in the world and you see these catch cars anywhere, you're going to see a different design. You're going to see imperfections, but you're going to see something unique to that one carving. So I like to tie it in because it is a stone and it is a deep part of my faith, my culture, and I like to use it in comparing it to like the weight of trauma and the weight of everything we bear. And then again with the sun is just looking towards the future, looking to brighter pastures, and knowing that we have through work, through hard trauma care, using prolonged exposure, cognitive behavioral therapy, what it might be, we can get into reducing our symptoms, improving our coping mechanisms and allowing us to grow instead of being stuck in those times of despair and deep symptoms that we have.
Right, right. So that is a great segue into my next question, which, what are some of the modalities that you do use in your practice?
Yeah, so thank you for asking. So I am certified. I have certifications, I should say, in anxiety treatment and trauma. So I mostly use cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, acceptance and commitment therapy or ACT, and prolonged exposure.
Okay. And that sounds interesting, but could you just kind of give a little synopsis of what all that means?
Yeah. So I'll start with prolonged exposure. It's very simple, where we are taking um, a traumatic experience that someone has, and we are processing it together, and we do it in multiple steps. So typically, it's about, I want to say, 8 to 10 sessions, where we are targeting the things that leave people stuck, and we do in
Right.
vivo exposure, and we do and we do I'm sorry, I forget the term, but is the we imaginal exposure, thank you. And so we are imagining ourselves in those moments, and then we are doing the in vivo where we are practicing minor exposures in between sessions and processing it together when we do reconvene for the next session to kind of open it up, because the way we get over the fears is by exposure. We can't avoid it, otherwise it just continues to grow or we stay stuck.
Right.
Acceptance and commitment therapy is a good modality where we're able to take, things in our lives, and instead of trying to change them, we are learning different ways to accept them as they are and changing our reaction to it. And then cognitive behavioral therapy is one of the more common therapies you will see throughout the mental health field, but is using both the cognitive part of our brains and our behavioral responses and understanding and creating awareness within ourselves so that instead of reacting, we are responding, right? So kind of creating this awareness, understanding what we're feeling, and then using that knowledge to reframe our thinking. This is the beauty of our brains. We have the neuroplasticity in our brains that constantly change, and it
Yeah.
allows us to rethink things and learn these new habits so that we have a better behavioral outcome versus like the negative reactions that we kind of lean on sometimes. Unfortunately, we go off emotion, and that emotion leads to a negative outcome.
Right, right. Hello, viewers and listeners. The JDog Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTS. 100% of all proceeds goes directly to the organizations we are partnered with. If you go to jdogfoundation.org, you can learn more about our mission, donate, and if you are in need of help, please dial 988. Our motto, saving lives one veteran at a time. Check us out, jdogfoundation.org. Thank you for explaining all that. That was really very informative and helpful. You are licensed in New Jersey, correct?
Yes, so currently I'm licensed both in New Jersey and Florida.
Okay, so Florida. So, and I was wondering, do you work with just veterans and first responders? Do you work with civilians?
Yeah. So I want to say right now about 85% of my clients are veterans or first responders. It's just kind of my niche. It's the background that I have as working as military police officer and then being an Army veteran. I
Right.
really connect with them because it's just what I know. And when a veteran meets another veteran, it's as if they served together. Like it's a whole weight off their shoulders. It's very comfortable. You don't have to describe the lingo to me. You don't have to describe your job too much. I pretty much know the background and the language. Um, but
Right.
I do have clients that are neither. So I work with them because they have a trauma past, or they're a family member of a veteran or a first responder. But I say, in this field, you typically have to have a niche. So whatever you're looking for, whether it's women, LGBTQ, children, you have to have like this niche. And I think, putting forefront, like if you look on my Psychology Today on my website, you will see everything that says veteran and first responders, and that's normally what brings the people in. So they see that, and that's what attracts them to wanting to connect with me.
Right, yeah. There's definitely a trust and factor and a comfort factor, I'm sure. Um, so, so obviously you have fees. Is most of what you do covered by insurance?
Yeah, yeah. So everything I do is insurance based. That's the
Okay.
beauty of what I do. There are, therapists out there that want, just cash based, and I understand it. Working with insurances can be difficult. But I do most of my clients, like I said, are veterans and first responders. They rely on insurance. No one's
Right.
typically a millionaire that can pass out a lot of money per session. So I am credentialed with most major insurances, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, United, even TRICARE and VA Community Care. So
Oh,
even if you
wow.
don't
Okay.
have insurance, yeah, yeah, even if you don't have insurance, you can go through your VA, request to get community care mental health, and then get connected to me that way.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's good to know. Okay. So, how long have you been in practice?
So my practice is fairly new. I opened up the practice in May of last year. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
just over
Okay.
a year old. But it's been, a wild ride because it has been amazing. Leaving the VA was bittersweet because I loved what I did, but most of my clients, or all of my clients, I should say, were depending on the VA. The VA is great because it's either low copay or nothing. It's free care.
Right. Yeah.
So I couldn't really take anyone with me. So building from the ground up for a year, I feel like it's been doing really well.
Oh, that's awesome. So, your visits, are they like a telehealth visit or in person or both?
Yeah, so right now I'm just telehealth. There
Okay.
is the idea or plan to one day maybe get an office, but what I'm finding in this field is a majority of my clients are popping in, on their lunch hour or on a break or on an hour they could kind of put to the side. It's really helpful because it expands my reach as well. So if I'm
Right.
seeing people in, South Jersey or now in Florida, you don't have to travel 30 minutes to my office, spend an hour there, then travel 30 minutes back and lose about half a day of work. You could
Right.
come in for 50 minutes to an hour and then go back to work. So I feel like the telehealth aspect of it has been really helpful for both me and for my clients.
Right. Right. And I would imagine that it's also comfortable for them to just kind of be in their own space.
Yeah, yeah, that's the beauty of it. I mean, COVID-19 was, it was what it was. It wasn't a happy time, but one of the
Right.
best things that came out of it was the telehealth aspect of things, where this is more accessible to everyone throughout the country, and being able to connect with someone and they could be in their own home, their living room, their car, their own environment. It's not as nerve-wracking anymore. It's not
Right.
so much you're coming into an environment, especially someone who is hyper aroused or hyper vigilant, and they're coming into a stranger's office. Like allow at
Right.
least coming in on telehealth gives them some sort of control.
Right. Right. Yeah. Um, that's amazing. So, Joe, thank you so much for all this information, and I'm happy that you have this practice and it's going well, and that you've really kind of found your niche in that veteran and first responder group, because and that you accept insurance, because unfortunately, I think the VA is so overwhelmed with a lot of veterans needing mental health care and resources, that it's nice that there's something outside of that. But I think also too, you bring another aspect to it because you've been through the VA as a social worker, so you kind of have that added advantage, I think, to understand what they try to navigate. So I think that's awesome. Um, But, Joseph, so we have come to the time in the podcast where I have to ask you that very important question. And that is, what is your tactical treasure that you would like to share with us today? Something that has helped you in your journey in life.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think honestly, my tactical treasure, if I really think about, and I thought long about this, I feel, but I don't know if it's ever been brought up previously in your podcast, but I will say being a veteran feels like a cheat code. And I explained that in the sense that there are so many things, so many opportunities, so many programs, so many organizations that are here for the vets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just going to the VA, because I remember when I first got out of the Army, I went through a period of unemployment and I just thought the VA itself was just healthcare. So I kind of avoided it. I didn't go there and say, woe is me, I can't find a job. But there are connections there. And even if the VA can't provide it itself, there are different organizations, different nonprofits that are there to help you. So employment, being able to fund your college, you have we all have the GI Bill, but then you also have Veteran Readiness and Employment, formerly known as Voc Rehab, which gives you
Oh, wow.
additional college.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know of, at least in New Jersey, there's one college that if you run out of both, they'll still pay your tuition if you're a global war on terrorism veteran. So like there are different programs that help you with college, with education, with entrepreneurship. I met you, Tracy, through the EBV
Right.
program,
Yeah.
and that was something that I just accidentally came across on when I was online looking for different ways to grow my business, and it's just an amazing opportunity to just go out there, look for what's out there, connect with your local state veteran commerce,
Mm-hmm.
the SCORE program, but like having these different levels of support, right? I like to use the same language when I'm talking about mental health, right? As veterans, as first responders, we're so linked into compartmentalizing and internalizing. So we put it in a nice little box and we put it in the corner and then we just keep doing it and we compounding it, right? So a single box is like the game of Jenga, right? If you just stack those bricks in one single pile, it's going to tip over pretty easily. But if we're strategic and we're using support of other bricks and other boxes, we
Mm-hmm.
can build up that strong foundation so the tower can be higher. So in the same sense of us coming into the civilian world, giving to other vets, doing what we love. It's really leaning in on those different opportunities, those different programs that are out there for us. And word of mouth is a huge way of learning it. It is
Mm-hmm.
online, but it's really connecting with other veterans, learning what they did so that we know what's out there so that we could take full advantage of it.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great tactical treasure. And you're right, building that foundation, there is so many resources out there. And it would be nice if they were all kind of tied into one little box that you just could open and they would just be there. But unfortunately, you just kind of have to go online, talk to other people, and just try to navigate that space. But they are out there if you look hard enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great tactical treasure. Okay, so next question before we wrap up our time here.
Sure.
Any advice for your fellow veterans struggling post service?
Yeah. So I have to say that one, start a service connection claim with the VA, right?
Hmm.
I feel like that's the easiest thing. A lot of veterans, especially younger veterans, that they don't want to do it, And my father was one of those people, and I kept encouraging him, but unfortunately, he never did it before his passing. But I always said it's service connection, right? It's not disability. I know that's the term we use, but the VA is strictly looking for how is it related to your service, not caused by it. How is it related? So when did the symptoms start, and how bad is it today? On your worst day. So when you go to those claims, do not be on medication and show up and say, my back feels great today, because that's what they'll rate you at. So I think the
Right.
severity and that is they're just looking for the connection.
Hmm.
And then using the post 9/11 VA portion. because that program is there for you as case managers dedicated to the post 9/11 era veterans. So if you are post 9/11, that office is there for you so that you can use that. Unfortunately, the rest of the VA, if you're pre 9/11, you have to go through primary care to speak to like a social worker or a case manager. But the post 9/11 program, was it transition and care management program? Um, they give you case management, they do groups, they help you with resources, connection to services, housing, connection to different programs throughout the VA is a huge thing. And it's the only program within the VA that actively pursues you. So when you newly register with the VA, or if you are new to a VA system, so if you move to a different state or something, they actively pursue you to ask you questions, kind of do a biopsychosocial social, if you will, meaning just kind of getting your background, your demographics, seeing if you're struggling in any way, or if you need help navigating that VA system. That has, being a patient, I didn't know all this stuff really existed. But then working at the VA really opened my eyes to the amount of
Sure.
things that are out there for us. So, please take advantage of your VA benefits. File the claim, use your VA benefits to its fullest extent. Talk to other veterans, network. That way you're able to find different programs, different organizations that can help you. There's no reason why you should be behind in rent, behind in utilities, needing food, needing diapers for your babies. All of these things are out there. There are different
Right.
organizations. So I highly encourage every veteran to be active. Even if you dislike the VA, there are good people in it and they could connect you to different organizations. So you can
Right.
use them as leverage so that you could get those needs that you have.
That's great advice. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
So, before you go, can you tell us where people can find and connect with you and where they can find more information on Stone and Sun Counseling?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the easiest route is my website, right? So stoneandsuncounseling.com. Sun is SUN. And my phone number's on there, my email's on there. My email is just joe at stoneandsuncounseling.com. I'm also on Psychology Today, so if you type my name into Psychology Today, you can read a little bio about me. It'll have the contact buttons on there. I'm on different social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You will find me as my face. I am a solo practice, so anytime you text, email, call, you're going to talk to me directly. There's no admin, there's no waiting, there's no issues, not hearing back at all. I am very active in my business, so please, if you feel like you want to connect, give me a call, go to my website. I do also want to plug in that this time next year, there's something in the social work field called the Compact Law, and this law expands our services beyond our borders, meaning I will be able to see veterans and first responders in over 35 states in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and I don't need additional licensing, right? So I can just abide by New Jersey laws and I will be able to see over 35 states. I think it's 38 right now, but like over 35 states. So, if you are outside New Jersey or Florida right now, just wait. It will open up and then I'll be able to assist you. So I look forward to talking to you all.
That's awesome. Wow. Thank you for all that information. We'll be sure to get the word out, Joe. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for your time today, sir. It was a pleasure having you on and speaking to you. And
Thank you
I
so
wish
much.
you much success in what you're doing.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for having me on. This was lovely.
Hello, viewers and listeners. We've just finished up an amazing conversation with Joe Diacheysn, who is a licensed clinical social worker, Army veteran, and the founder of Stone and Sun Counseling, a practice deeply rooted in resilience, heritage, and holistic healing. Inspired by the enduring strength of Armenian Kachkar centuries old stone crosses symbolizing survival and the warmth and renewal of the sun, this practice bridges the gap between carrying a heavy history and moving toward a brighter future. As both a veteran and a trauma survivor, Joe understands firsthand what it means to carry invisible wounds and how vital it is to sit with someone who truly sees your whole story, not just your symptoms. Stone and Sun Counseling is built on the powerful belief that healing doesn't have to happen in isolation. Whether you are navigating deep trauma, managing daily stress, or simply feeling stuck, this practice offers a grounded, supportive space designed to help you feel completely understood and equipped to move forward. At Stone and Sun, you are reminded that you are both incredibly strong and entirely worthy of healing. To learn more about their work or to connect with Joe directly, visit their website at Stone and Sun is S-U-N, counseling.com. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget you can find Tactical Treasures Podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms on our website, tacticaltreasurespodcast.com, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. As an official radio partner, Tactical Treasures is airing on Reese Across America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can also find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. JDog is honored to be an official Reese Across America sponsorship group. When you sponsor a $17 Veterans Wreath through our group, $5 goes straight to the JDog Foundation to help heal our heroes. Your contribution directly supports our mission to prevent veteran suicide and provide lasting mental health and PTS resources. You can donate right now at reaseacrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.